In this video, I survived 5,000 days in Minecraft Hardcore, Minecraft's most difficult game mode where if you die one time, the entire world is lost forever. Throughout 1,200 hours of gameplay, I built several cities, many farms, collected beacons, and raided for loot. There were even a few times that I almost died, but just managed to hang on. This was extremely challenging to make it this far, so just before we get into the video, if you could take the time to like and subscribe, it would mean a lot to me. Day 1 started just how one would expect. First I got some wood, then I made myself a pickaxe. After that I upgraded to stone tools, and after that I got some food and decided to go mining. After a little while I had enough iron to make a full set of iron armor. Now that I had armor, I spent days 2 through 14 first clearing some trees. After I cleared the trees, I decided to start what would later become a huge wheat farm. From days 15 through 16, I started my first house that I would live in until much past day 1000. I decided I wouldn't finish the house until later. I would only work on the framework for now. On day 17, I started a sugarcane farm with some sugarcane I had found by the river. This would later be useful for an enchantment table. After 20 days, some of my wheat was now fully grown and I could begin my search for cows. That way, I could get leather for the enchantment table. Next, I put the cows into a hole and decided it would be best to use the wheat from the farm to start breeding them until I had enough for all the leather I would need. I postponed the cow breeding from day 30 through 39 to go mining once again. Once I mined low down, I found a cave where I made a nether portal out of lava inside, although I figured it would be best to wait before entering the nether. The next few days were spent strip mining for diamonds. I even found a few, which I immediately turned into a diamond pickaxe and an enchantment table. It was now day 50. I bred the cows and harvested the sugar cane enough to make the bookshelves around the enchantment table. After preparing thoroughly, I spent days 55 through 59 mining quartz in the nether for levels. On day 60, I found a faraway nether fortress and carefully tried entering it. Now that I had levels, I really wanted a Fortune 3 pickaxe so I could get a ton of diamonds. The only reasonable thing to do from here was to spend days 70 through 84 mining a ton of diamonds. On day 85, after many hours of work, I finally had enough diamonds for a full set of armor. Next up on the list would be to finish an early project, and that was the starter house. 100 days done already, just like that. The next few days, until day 119, I worked on a few random projects. I made this lake with the statue, I finished the wheat farm, and I even put a wall around it. From days 120 through 139, I planned and built a fully automatic sugarcane farm. On day 140, I started a creeper farm to provide the other ingredient in fireworks. It was on day 170 that I thought it would be a good idea to make a slime farm. I spent until day 229 working on what I called luxury sweets, a double skeleton XP grinder of my own design. It even had an automatic sorting system. I next wanted gold, lots of gold. I began building a gold farm on the nether ceiling. I thought it would be funny to name the gold farm Bristol Farms. Now that I had XP, from days 260 through 299, I combined and cycled enchantments until I had perfect armor. It was at this point that I decided to start one of my most ambitious projects. The idea was that I would build an entire medieval village inside of a snow globe. I started working on a villager trading hall. I wanted access to all the enchantment books villagers could sell. I also turned the villagers into zombies and then cured them so I could have cheaper trades. On day 370, I started work on a new project that I would call the library. From day 400 through 439, I thought I would pay tribute to a special thing I did with some friends on a server. It was a long time ago. We once created a group of people. We called the group of people the Mafia. The basic idea was that someone could pay the Mafia for protection. If they didn't want protection, after a long time, the server retired, and I made a tribute to the Mafia as a joke on the hardcore world. Now, after 440 days, I realized there were many creeper holes and other things I needed to beautify throughout the world. On day 470, I started a project that would give me much trouble. I attempted to link the nether portals throughout my world all to one area. This gave me a lot of hassle, but after many hours of work, I was successful. As a celebration for 500 days in hardcore, I wanted to fight a raid. I even got a Totem of Undying, which later saved my world. Now that it was day 530, I wanted to become richer than I was. The next few days, I spent creating an arena that I could fight in. From day 600 to 629, I figured I would go to the nether and start farming wither skeleton skulls. I wanted a beacon, and this was the only way I'd get one. And after much collecting and preparing, I fought the first boss, the Wither. I then crafted myself the beacon I had worked so hard for. From day 640 on, I AFK'd in my gold farm, which also provided XP until I hit level 300. AFK for the XP provided a double purpose. I was also getting enough gold that would be able to make a maxed out beacon pyramid. After doing all these things, I still had not beaten the Ender Dragon. After finding the stronghold and entering the end, I fought the dragon. This, unfortunately, was the first time I almost died, and the first time that the Totem of Undying saved me. By day 830, I was ready to go end busting and find myself an elytra. It was day 850 that I found my first elytra. Now I could start building some of the massive projects I had planned. Before those projects, I spent a long time collecting wither skulls in the nether fortress so as to be able to craft 3 more beacons. By day 970, I started a city that would be Japanese styled. I only just finished the biggest house in the city before day 1000. After over 180 hours, I had made it all the way to day 1000 in the hardcore world. As a celebration and a getaway, I spent days 1005 to 1129 exploring far out into the world, finding many ocean monuments, raiding them, and collecting their riches. And this time, I even found a woodland mansion which I decided to raid. On day 1130, I began one of my biggest projects ever. The first step in what I had planned would be to collect a ton of wood. It was from days 1170 to 1199 that I planned the logistics of this project. I wanted to make a fully automatic storage system that would sort every item in the game. Next, I took a small break from the storage system and decided to build a massive tree near spawn. It was now day 1300 that I began collecting the rest of the resources. This required me to AFK at many different farms for nearly 30 hours. Despite my planning and AFKing so far, there was still one resource I needed, and that was iron. I spent the next 100 days building a massive iron farm using 60 villagers. I was ready to start building the storage system. I spent until day 1830 collecting over 800 items, sorting items, adding filters for those items. After 700 days of work, I finally finished the storage system that I called Alexa. From 1830 to 1844, I built a trident farm. After nearly 3 hours of AFKing inside of it, I finally got myself a trident. From day 1845 to 1869, I built a guardian farm. I needed access to all the prismarine types, and this was the only way I could do it. Next, I began building a wither rose farm. I wanted black dye for another big project I had planned. After that, until day 2000, I did a bit of exploring, then was finally ready to celebrate. From day 2000 to 2129, I decided to add many farms to the area that I called the Industrial District. Completing this area meant adding a storage system to it and tubes to connect all the farms together. I built a small elytra course and mainly worked on my surviving skills. They would need to become much better if I were to ever make it to day 5000. On day 2150, I started a quest. I wanted a beacon of every type. I had the resources to make an iron, gold, and emerald beacon already, but next I wanted a diamond beacon. I figured the best way to do this would be to make a tunnel bore. After much building, I figured I would spend days 2200 through 2229 end busting. Days 2230 through 2359 were next spent doing one of my favorite activities, collecting notch apples. I continued the quest for every beacon, this time mining for tons of ancient debris. I started mining a hole underneath the dome base. All of the stone from this I collected for another project I was planning. I wanted to start a wolf army. After many hours of breeding wolves, I had nearly 100 of them. It was on day 2450 that I decided I would start another project. This time, it would be to decorate the end island. The stone I had collected earlier was finally going to use on day 2520. I started creating a wither skeleton farm that required placing nearly 50,000 stone slabs around it. This was one of the hardest things I had done yet. After creating a wither skeleton farm, I now had hundreds of wither skeleton skulls. I spent until day 2699 building an automatic wither killer. This would finally allow me to have unlimited beacons. From days 2700 through 2739, I built the most overpowered farm possible, a raid farm. Until day 2799, I worked a bit on the end island, placing lots of grass and mining away a few small islands. Days 2800 through 2829 were spent creating a farm that I ended up never using once, a ghast farm. On day 2830, I started yet another farm. This time, a magma cube farm. I needed lots of magma cream for a future project. The next thing I built was a hoglin farm. This was one of the best farms I made because it provided food all the way until day 5,000. On day 2,920, I collected 56,000 magma cream from the magma slime farm to craft tons of blocks for my new gold farm. I decided that I needed to be infinitely rich in gold, and making a stupidly fast gold farm would be the only way to achieve this. As if everything I had been doing wasn't ridiculous already, I was now going on a week-long vacation in real life and figured that I should AFK at a farm for the entire time. It was on day 3,402, a little over 400 days late, but I still celebrated 3,000 days of playing on the hardcore world. I went to the nether once again and built a blaze farm. I needed access to lots of blaze rods, and this would be the easiest option. For the next 30 days, I first crafted 64 beacons. I then gathered tons of gold and iron and started placing beacons throughout the entire world. I wanted to make the world rich in beacons. I decided that after 3,600 days of playing, I was never going to sleep again. This would mean I would fight more mobs, live through every night, and ultimately test my skill to see if I could survive until 5,000 days. I decided to clean up the world and build various quality of life things. It was on day 3,700 that I started a very ambitious project. I wanted to map the entire world. I needed lots of gunpowder if I ever planned on getting the complete netherite beacon, and this was the only way to do that. The first thing to complete on the list was the spawn village. I spent until day 4,234 completing it. I passed 4,000 days on my hardcore world and was not about to give up. It was on day 4,010 I started a collection. Every time a thunderstorm happened from here on out, until day 5,000, I would explode charged creepers to collect mob heads. On day 4,235, I began work on an enderman farm so I could collect more XP and also ender pearls. I then spent the next days from 4,250 to 4,319 building what I called the Galaxy Netherhub. From day 4,320 to 4,409, I began bombing a massive area in a plains biome so as to create a quarry. It was at this point that I went back to netherite mining, so that one day I might finish the netherite beacon. I was trying to take it in chunks so that I wouldn't get too overwhelmed with the project. On day 4,430, I decided I wanted to complete all the achievements Minecraft had. I spent until day 4,509 doing this. From days 4,530 to day 4,584, I placed nearly 40,000 blocks in the quarry I made earlier. After this, I realized I had played over 1,000 hours in the world without a single death. I was getting close to 5,000 days. I wanted to make the world feel complete. It was at this point I began cleaning the world and connecting all my builds together with paths. On day 4,595, I began working on an ice farm so I could have access to loads of ice. I worked on the ice farm until day 4,619. It was on day 4,620 that I made a big decision. I wanted to survive in the world forever. The most likely way I would die would be from mobs. I decided to remove mobs altogether. I built a mob switch using 70 zombie villagers. Days 4,640 through 4,649, I spent breaking bedrock on the nether roof. I wanted to create a massive hole from the nether ceiling to the lower nether. Day 4650 until day 4674, I once again returned to the netherite beacon project and collected nearly 1,000 pieces of ancient debris for it. It was at this point that I wanted to reach level 1000. I spent until day 4684 building an automatic zombie pigman farm on the nether roof. I then returned to the Netherhub on day 4685 to begin working on what I called the Nether Highway. On day 4715 all the way to day 4719, I built a place that I would keep my iron beacon, gold beacon, emerald beacon, diamond beacon, and my netherite beacon in once I got it. From day 4720 to 4729, I spent end busting. I mainly collected elytras, bringing the total number I owned up to 45. It was on day 4730 that I began working on the Japanese town I had planned so long ago. I spent until day 4879 building it. After finishing the Japanese town, I realized I needed to complete the dome base before 5,000 days. I spent the time from day 4880 all the way to 4989 working on the base to finally complete what I could call my new home. I felt the world was in a good place before 5,000 days. I wanted to show all the ancient debris I had collected until that point. The final few minutes before the sunrise of day 5,000, I got my celebrations into place. I was so excited to finally reach my goal. And then it happened. The day counter hit day 5,000. I had done it! I played 5,000 days in hardcore Minecraft without dying a single time. In over 1,200 hours, anything could have ended it, but with much care and luck, I managed to make it. In 5,000 days, we made so many things. This is not going to be the end of the world. We are going to try to survive as long as possible. If at any point you want to watch the journey happen, you can check it out on my live streams on YouTube. I want to thank everyone who is here to make 5,000 days possible and everyone else for watching this far.